This is
Immortals Fenyx Rising. A belated odyssey. In June 2019, Ubisoft revealed an open-world Greek mythology-based game called Gods and Monsters. Ooh. While some wrote it off as a Breath of the Wild clone, which is not entirely wrong, many others were eager to hear and see more. However, the game went silent for over a year, and apparently the name changed to Immortals Fenyx Rising because of a legal dispute with Monster Energy Drink. I literally just found this out when researching for this video. But regardless, this is comedy gold. Anywho, in fall 2020, the game was re-revealed and slated to release in December that year. Personally, I had my eyes on this game since reveal, and this was, somewhat ashamedly, my most anticipated big holiday game of that year, since I wasn't and still am not willing to move to next gen just yet. Miles Morales looks good though. I ended up getting it for Christmas, and needless to say, this game did not disappoint. Before we dive deep into the content and quality of this game, remember to go like, subscribe, and comment down below. What's up, YouTube? JM Comics here. Also, go check out some of my older videos, since I have a bunch of Nintendo and specifically Zelda content on my channel. And I have many more reviews coming up, such as one for Borderlands Game of the Year edition. And for those who don't know, I usually try to 100% a game before my review, and for this game I did one playthrough collecting all collectibles, but did not do the New Game Plus playthrough. Anyway, like I said, remember to like, subscribe, and comment down below. And in case you've been following my channel for a while, you'll know this review has been belated so many times. Like, it's kind of ironic, a game called Immortals Fenyx Rising. The review was like a phoenix. It died and it came back, because I was planning on kind of scrapping it, but here we are, we're doing it, it's alive. Dionysian Tone. If you don't know who Dionysius is, he's the god of wine, if you know what I mean. Immortals Fenyx Rising, like the Hydra, is a beast of many heads. The game is primarily a cross between Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed open-world formula, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild's non-linear nature, and the iconic mythos of ancient Greece. While this game may sound derivative of the three aspects aforementioned, especially Breath of the Wild, it surprisingly strikes a balance between them all, making the game feel like its own quirky experience. And one major aspect that separates this game from its influences is the comical tone. This game has a farcical tone that is extremely reminiscent of a classic Disney movie, such as Disney's Hercules. That tone is supported by the game's narrators, Zeus and Prometheus, who constantly bicker, making the narration and events within the game unreliable, which feels as if the console you're playing on had one too many drinks at the bar and can't make up its mind, if you know what I mean. Oh man, that's so weird. While the comedic tone is spearheaded by the adversarial narrators, the actual characters within Fenyx's story are also hilarious, but occasionally cringy. For example, Ares, the god of war, was turned into a chicken in this game, and he makes tons of chicken puns, which, while cheesy, are made funny because of how unfunny they are, and how weird it is to hear these quotes coming out of deity, typically portrayed as ruthless or evil in other franchises, such as Wonder Woman or Percy Jackson. Not the movie, the book, because Percy Jackson, the movies aren't that good. Many people call the corny dialogue a flaw of the game in their reviews, but I personally think it adds to the game's weird charm and helps it to step out of Breath of the Wild's overbearing shadow. A-tier Pantheon. Speaking of Ares, all of the gods in this game are absolutely amazing. Ares, as I mentioned, the god of war, is way more lighthearted in comparison to his other media portrayals, but fortunately he still retains his vulgar lust for blood and suffering. But don't worry, we don't see any gore. He's not Kratos, I promise. Aphrodite is sort of a dumb blonde stereotype, and it's hilarious. As the goddess of love, there are numerous adult references in her segments, including one about her toga. Take that as you will. Hermes, the messenger of the gods, serves as Fenyx's sidekick throughout the game, and he's super witty and makes numerous quips. However, I'd say Hermes makes the most cringy jokes and puns, which turns a lot of people off. But like I said, I personally find it ironically funny. Hephaestus, the god of the Forge's entire personality in this game is depressed. While I kind of feel bad for this dude, I find it entertaining how adversarial his relationship with Zeus is. Zeus threw him off of Olympus at birth, and for revenge, Hephaestus literally bound his mother, Hera, to a throne. It's like something out of Tekken, and it's hilarious. Finally, Athena, the goddess of wisdom, is the most straight-headed character in the game. While she is less entertaining because of it, she provides a great contrast to her siblings, and a serious character which the game needs, since the only other really serious stone god is Prometheus. Zeus is the funniest character by far. At so many points in this game, I literally burst out laughing because of how stubborn and ironically unintelligent he is for the highest of the gods. Plus, his voice actor has such a bad Greek accent that it makes for such a campy character, like something out of an adult cartoon like The Simpsons. Prometheus, like I said before, is pretty serious, but his banter of Zeus definitely redeems him. Plus, Zeus mocking the fact that Prometheus gets his liver picked on by eagles is pretty funny. Finally, Typhon, the main villain of this game, is pretty horrible. While all the other characters reek campy charm and charisma, Typhon is a by-the-book villain. Not to mention his boss fight is pretty lame if you even moderately upgrade Fenyx throughout your playthrough. It doesn't ruin the game, but it feels like a missed opportunity in a game that so heavily relies on character, charm, and wow factor. Exploring the Golden Isle. The world of Immortals Fenyx Rising has many components and tons of side quests and optional missions for the player to explore. This is one of the game's double-edged traits, as the game offers a lot of content but falls into one of Ubisoft's worst traps. A problem that many have had with Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed and Far Cry series is that Ubisoft always packs tons of content into their games, but a lot of the time it feels like filler. This problem was especially prevalent in the recent Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Luckily, I'd say this problem is not as much of an issue in this game as it is in those other games, and it didn't bother me until the last 10 hours of my playthrough, which we'll get to soon, trust me. Among the many things to do in the Golden Isle are chest challenges. These challenges come in a variety of forms. There are regular chests, which often are just hidden somewhere, but can occasionally have a puzzle or enemy requirement. There are guarded chests where you have to defeat a swarm of enemies or a mini-boss. There are night chests, which can only be accessed at night after defeating the enemies around them. Finally, there are epic chests, which almost always have a large, complicated puzzle that must be completed before accessing them, and give the player new customization options for weapons and armor. Another collectible challenge is Ambrosia. Ambrosia are crystal-like items that are used to upgrade the player's health. They are usually found on peaks and high points in the map, encouraging the player to explore the entire map and take in the beautiful viewpoints from these vantage points. A cool aspect of the Golden Isle is the mini-bosses that roam the land. There are about 30 of them, and each time you defeat one, you earn a new costume for Phosphor, Phoenix's pet Phoenix. Ironic. The boss fights in this game are honestly quite lame, and all can be summed down to kill a larger than normal enemy. There is no strategy, and there is no uniqueness to each battle. I mean, sometimes there is, but it's not that noticeable. Regardless, I still enjoy beating the brains out of these bosses and getting rewarded for my cruel efforts. Masochism. Finally, the best collectible missions in my opinion are the myth challenges. These are numerous challenges that are found throughout the map and give the player coins of Chiron, which are used to buy customization skins for weapons and armor, and to upgrade Phoenix's abilities. There are Odysseus challenges, where Phoenix has to shoot an arrow through the holes between axes. Another type is lyre challenges. In each area there are about 3 to 4 small lyres. If you know a lyre, it's like a little harp looking thing, that are usually locked behind a puzzle, but give the player a short melodic pattern once unlocked. The player then has to repeat that pattern in that area's one large lyre to gain coins of Chiron. There are also mini missions that play out certain events from Greek mythology, such as one about the aforementioned throne that Hera was bound to by Hephaestus. Achilles' heel. Dun, dun, dun. While I've mostly been praising this game up to this point, there are numerous huge flaws that don't ruin the experience but definitely lessen it. The most prominent flaw in this game is its puzzles. Similar to Shrines in Breath of the Wild, this game has numerous challenging puzzles, but unlike that game, the puzzles here are often extremely cryptic, unbelievably janky, and often have multiple glitches. These glitches aren't game-breaking, but they can make certain puzzles unbeatable unless you unload a previous save file, which is extremely agitating. Many of these puzzles are also just not fun. I don't enjoy it. I'd say about 70% of the shrines or vaults of Tartaros in this game are either too complex or too rudimentary. While Breath of the Wild seemed to get a perfect balance in difficulty for at least most shrines, this game rarely hit that targeted difficulty. The second greatest criticism in my opinion is the graphics, specifically the character and object models. While this game's world is so beautifully animated and majestic, the actual models are some of the worst graphics in a AAA video game, bordering cyberpunk levels of jank. The characters' faces tend to be muddled and have blotches all over them, plus the edges can look jarring at times. I did play the game on Switch, but I've heard that the PS4 and Xbox One versions are also extremely bad graphically, and that the PS5 versions seem to fare better, PS5 and Xbox Series X, but they still have some jank. It's kind of hilarious how this is sort of the prettiest and the ugliest game I've played in recent memory. Also, another criticism that I mentioned multiple times is that some of the characters' jokes are too corny and campy and just don't land. Personally, like I said, I can tolerate and find humor in these, but not all players would, so it's a valid piece of criticism that really comes down to your personal sense of humor. Another often spoken problem about this game is Fenyx himself or herself, depending on what you choose. The character has a personality of a cardboard box, like characters from the worst animated movies. The Emoji Movie comes to mind. Luckily, Fenyx's personality isn't as bad as anyone out of that Forsaken movie, but it's still of poor quality. In my opinion, Fenyx's personality wasn't so much a problem with this game as it was a problem with the video game industry in general. I'm going to rant here. The more customization and options for the player character that companies give, the less personality they have. I had this same problem with Astral Chain's protagonist, and it's only worse here because of how corny Fenyx's lines can be. I prefer when characters are set in stone characters. We can't customize them that much besides maybe clothing. Like Link from Zelda, Mario from Mario, or like I said, Kratos from God of War. Just give us solid characters instead of making us customize everything. Legends End. The main story of this game is that Typhon has turned everyone, including Fenyx's brother Legeron, into stone, and that to save the Golden Isle, Fenyx must get the help of the punished gods. Well, huge plot twist in the middle of the game, Legeron's not stone. Apparently, Legeron wasn't turned into stone, and he's on the same mission as Fenyx, as he thinks he is the fabled hero of the Isle. However, there's another plot twist near the end of the game. Legeron is not on the same mission. He was working with Typhon the entire time, gathering materials to help him make a potion that could take the power of the gods away. This surprise is met with a really fun boss battle against Legeron on top of Mount Olympus. It's probably the only boss battle that actually felt good in the game, most likely because of the narrative twist that precedes it. And additionally, Legeron sort of behaves like Fenyx, so it's like fighting yourself. It's cool. After Legeron gets his butt whooped by Fenyx, he retreats to Typhon, and the final battle opens up in the middle of the map. Personally, I waited until collecting everything and unlocking all upgrades before confronting Typhon. But after defeating Legeron, you can fight Typhon immediately if you'd like. Actually, I'm pretty sure you can fight the final boss from the beginning of the game, similar to a certain other game. Breath of the Wild. Anywho, I fully upgraded and did all that I wanted to do, before I jumped into Typhon's volcano in the middle of the map. This collection process was absolutely grueling, I cannot understate that, and where I ran into the most bugs and glitches. Luckily, the main story doesn't have as many bugs, showing that Ubisoft at least playtested the main path of the game. From that point of view, it makes sense that the most glitches would appear in the endgame/completion process. Doesn't excuse it though. Okay, enough dilly-dallying. After jumping into the volcano, you literally just encounter Typhon and easily dispatch him. But another plot twist arrives. Typhon yells in his last breath that Fenyx is a demigod and the child of Hermes. Fenyx, out of the volcano now, watches as those turned to stone return to their human form. The story abruptly cuts to Zeus and Prometheus, and Zeus explains that's impossible because it was really him who turned everyone into stone. So Zeus did it the whole time. Bro. Prometheus then reveals that he fabricated much of the story. He changed the ending to appeal to Zeus, and that his brother Atlas causes the shipwreck that sends Fenyx to the Golden Isle, and he had Typhon released. Another plot twist. Whoa. At this point, I'm both shocked and confused. It wouldn't be a Greek myth if it didn't contradict itself. To insult Zeus' intelligence even more, it is revealed that Fenyx isn't Hermes' child, he's Zeus' child! At this moment, Fenyx arrives on the mountaintop to confront his father for what he did to the mortals. Zeus admits that he has been a bad ruler and a bad father, and that Fenyx must fulfill the prophecy stating that he would be the one to kill Zeus. Fenyx refuses to kill his dad, so Typhon grabs Zeus, Prometheus, and Fenyx and drags them into the vault of Typhon. This vault is literally the hardest one in the game, and I considered giving up at this point, honestly. I had completed like 30 vaults already and was pretty fed up with them, but I soldiered through it. The puzzle portion of the vault took about 45 minutes, and I finally confronted Typhon. He was holding Legeron and Zeus in the containment cell, so Fenyx and the other gods beat Typhon up in a really boring and honestly easy boss fight. To deliver the final blow, Zeus escapes his bondage and whoops Typhon, before Fenyx sneaks in the true final blow. Oh, forgot to mention, Typhon crushed Fast for the Phoenix before the battle began. R.I.P. little bird, I barely knew ye. I would be more emotionally devastated, but by this point my patience with this game had reached its end. To some, there's a prolonged ending cutscene where everyone returns, Zeus brings Phosphor back, and Phoenix joins his siblings as one big happy Greek family. I would have enjoyed this cutscene, I guess, but it glitched out for me, so I had to turn off the game, then turn it back on, redo the boss battle, and pray that the scene wouldn't glitch again, which it fortunately didn't. It then shows us Prometheus rotting in his chains, waiting for the eagle to return and eat his livers. Screw him, he deserves it for delivering all those stupid twists at the end. And that's it. After watching that cutscene, New Game Plus is unlocked, but I was too impatient for that, so I put the game back in its Switch case, and don't plan on opening it again anytime soon. There's no reason. DLC, dang it. I'm not gonna do it. Ode to Suffering. This game took hours of my life from me. It's taken so much time and mental well-being from me. And all for what? Nothing. Nothing really. There is nothing that the player receives for belaboring themselves to unlock everything in the game. I got all armor and weapons, I collected all ambrosia, I upgraded all skills, fully maxed out stamina, and fully maxed out health. But it was all in vain. It was all in vain. You get nothing for completing those things. You lose! Good day, sir!
So you get nothing! You lose! Good day, sir!
Okay, overview. Immortals Fenyx Rising is an incredibly fresh, yet incredibly flawed game. The game has a fun story, interesting characters, and great world building. However, those positives are countered by horrible glitches, inconsistently ugly graphics, and cryptic puzzles galore. When it comes to completion, don't complete this game. While the first 30 hours of completion are fun, after that it becomes a gross and nasty slog, and will most likely dishearten you from the rest of the game. Finish the main story first, and then do as much as you can humanly handle after that. My playtime was 80 hours. 80 hours of this game. I can assure you at least 40 of those hours were completing the game. Like just completion stuff. Other 40 was main stuff. And the score I gave it was a 7.5 out of 10. Worth checking out, but not worth completing. That's all, folks. Thanks for watching. Get ready for a few more video game reviews by the end of this year. I'm thinking a Metroid game. I won't spoil which one. Not the new one, but another one. And obviously, I'm going to do a Borderlands review next. Thanks for watching. JM Comics out.